Hola queridas, I am here on my last night in Mallorca at the Temple of Mallorca with Priestess Niome. And it's been an amazing week. I have learned so much. And one of the things that I always tell people, that when you are a healer, you must also heal yourself. The journey into healing is continuous. There is no end to it unless you have become ascended masters. So for me, this journey was about addiction, it was about food, it was about feeling sad in my heart with all the things that are happening in this global community, in our own community. And I was beginning to get quite sad about all of those things. There is so much that I would like to change, but there's only one person here. And finding a sacred spirit, a sacred sister that understands the sadness, understands the worry, understands some of the fears that I feel, is such a gift. It really is a gift. And hearing her words of wisdom. And I know that I'm often a little bit negative about what's happening in the world and how we are developing as humanity, and how post-COVID I've seen so much change, and not necessarily for the better in humans. Behind me is the beautiful moon. I'm sitting here listening to the cicadas and listening to the goat bleating, and suddenly everything becomes more clear. Suddenly everything becomes more relevant. And I realize that for the longest time I have thought that my value lies in who people think I am, who people judge me as, how I not necessarily take my value from what people think about me, because quite frankly I don't give a damn about or toss about who thinks what about me. But I do worry sometimes about the harshness of the world, and I often worry about how people will follow a leader that is not necessarily right for them. There may be a great leader, but they're not necessarily right for that person. And when you set yourself up to become a leader, you are already in the wrong place or in the wrong mindset. A leader becomes a leader when people follow them. And I don't like to be followed. I don't like to be a leader. And I would like to be somebody's side-by-side guide. That's what I really like to do, is standing next to them, like my colleague, my sister has stood side by side with me this week, you know, letting me talk, allowing me to find in myself what I needed to see. It was such a revelation. And in all the noise that happens in Glastonbury, and all the busyness, and all the, we need somebody, we need to do this, we need to do that, I've almost lost the reason why I'm here. I hope you can hear that bird above me. It's amazing. I'm sitting in the darkness because I work with the goddesses that work in the darkness, that work in the primordial darkness, the darkness from which all of us were born. You see, the thing is, a lot of people talk about darkness, but they haven't got a clue what they're talking about. They subscribe to one of those theories and concepts. I'm very, a big fan of Carl Gustav Jung, but a lot of the New Age pagans, a lot of the New Age goddess community follows slavishly the words of a man. And I'm always surprised at that, because aren't we supposed to be looking for the wisdom of the women within? So I'm just rambling on tonight about some of the things that have happened to me while I was here, seeing the stark beauty of this island, because it is the middle of the summer. It's not like in the UK where everything is green and the humidity is very high. Here it's different. I can almost feel my skin blossom. I can almost feel my heart opening, because I'm warm and I'm dry and I'm comfortable. I almost feel my bones drying out. And I wonder whether, living in a country that's not my own, living in a climate that's not my own, has contributed to some of the sadness that I've been feeling of late. And yet I am really looking forward to coming home to Glastonbury. I'm looking forward to making the changes that I want to make. I love teaching, but I want to teach people who really want to learn. That is really my biggest ambition. And yes, I am ambitious. Not ambitious for, you know, being known or being rich or being this or that. I'm ambitious for a greater community. I'm ambitious that more people will join the community of open-hearted, open-minded people. I don't care who they work with, who they pray to, what the heck they need to find in their own divine light. I am just wanting to stand hand in hand and heart to heart with those who really, really want to make a difference in the world. And I'm not talking about people who call themselves life coaches. We are all each other's life coach. You know, here I have had coaching and I have coached. I hate that word actually. You know, it's really, it's so corporate. I was a guide, a wisdom guide for my teacher, my sister. I was a wisdom guide for my brother here, and vice versa. They were wisdom guides for me. And it is that reciprocity, it is that beautiful giving and receiving. It is hard to receive, you know, it's really hard to receive for all of us who follow a particular path, because, you know, we do have at times a bit of a hero complex or a hero complex. And so for me, there is that fear place of, you know, not being wise enough, not knowing the answer to something, not being able to create something that seems really sacred to somebody else. It is sacred to me, but will it be sacred enough for that person? And over again, people tell me how much they love what I do, how much they love how I heal. I've had emails from so many people this week alone thanking me for the healing I gave. And I keep saying to people, I'm just the vessel. You know, I follow what Caradwin tells me. She gives me the insights. And like today, I met this lady on the beach. She was somebody who sells umbrellas, you know, sunbrellas, and she sells fruit. And we had an immediate heart-to-heart connection. She felt it, I felt it, I saw it in her eyes. She charged me far too much for the fruit, but I could see that her life was very hard, that she has suffered a lot, and that the money was important to her. And whatever she charged me was a little something for me. So why not gift it? Why haggle her down? And my friend, who is, you know, very Spanish, and she says, you overpaid the tourist prices. But I said to her, but the woman needed it. The woman needed it. She's looking after people. She didn't tell me that. I could see her life. I could see some of the things in her life, because her soul and my soul, we connected. And it was a beautiful connection. And this woman, she felt seen. I could see it in her eyes that she felt seen. She wasn't just somebody that just hands tourists who don't even care about who she is fruit or, you know, umbrellas. So these heart connections are what we're looking for. These heart connections are what we are needing in all of us. We all need those heart connections, and it is really important that we realize that these do not just come from people in our own cultural sphere, that they don't just come with people in our own spiritual sphere or in our own financial sphere. We're looking far too much for the approbation of the people that are our supposedly tribe, forgetting that actually in past lives maybe somebody else was our tribe. And it is really important to me that people understand that we understand each other, that we know how important it is when we feel that we are connected with somebody, to explore that connection, even if it's just a 5-minute connection. But there is something truly beautiful, and you can receive something truly beautiful. I'm just about being eaten by the mosquitoes, which is okay. I'm red, full of mosquitoes, but actually they don't worry me too much. It's part of this experience. Anyway, what I wanted to share with you is that the time that I have spent here has been sacred time. I have read, I have thought about things, I have written. It has been an amazing experience of retreat, and I'm very grateful that in years to come, Gloria will be inviting people in, will be one-to-one teachings, healings, and I am so excited that I was the beginning of that, and I'm hoping that more people will come. But she is going to be very discerning, and her beautiful husband has taught me about permaculture. I thought I knew, I thought I was informed, but actually this is a different place. You know, water is precious here. In England we moan about the amount of water we have. The waters here are also poisoned by commerce, by factories, and this is an island, as we are in the UK, and it can be very dangerous when our waters begin to get poisoned. And I'm hearing that our new government is going to do something about that, and I really hope that they mean to go through with that, because we are in a state of emergency when it comes to our waters. So as it is the almost the end of the season of the water, it is a heartfelt wish of mine that we begin to be more conscious of our impact on the world. You know, there are small things that we can all do, and we can watch the waterways that are close to us, and we can watch what is being done to them. For years we have known that Lake Bala, home of Caradwen, is being seriously polluted by one of the rivers that comes through them, that comes from the north, and that is just swamping Bala with toxic substances. So all of this has gone through my head while I'm here, and all of this has been a burden on me for the longest time. But I have decided that this time I'm going to lay the burden down. I'm going to allow myself to just look after myself, heal myself. And you know, especially women in our world are constantly being told that we must be of service. Everybody that I hear of nowadays is that they want to do courses so that they can be of service, that they want to do sacred things so that they can be of service. We are of service every day as women. We just don't realize how much service we actually give to people. And we also don't realize how much of that service is actually taken out of us, taken out of our bone marrow, our blood and bone. We gift and gift and gift to our children, our husbands, our partners, our lovers, our friends, our community. I want you to really take stock one day in your life and write down all the things you do for other people and how you constantly put yourself behind everybody else, because that's what you've been conditioned to do. This week I decided it was my time. Now I have had this need for the last beginning of this year. You know, I have started to take stock of my life, of my achievements, of what I want to do with the rest of my life, which may be another 10 years, maybe another 12, who knows. But when you know that there is a finite amount of time, then you realize how precious every moment is. And I want those of you who are listening to this, who have listened to the whole of what I've said today, to really, really ask yourself, who is your wisdom guide? Who is the person you trust? And ask them the question. Because where we are in ourselves, blinkered to the truth of what we really do, we have friends and loved ones that will tell us the truth, that will say to us, you're doing too much, you are giving too much. There is no need to try and give more and more, especially to people that are, you know, not appreciating what you're doing for them, not thanking you for helping them. I mean, not every time you do something for somebody, you need to be thanked. But there is a place and a time where you have to take a register of who actually, is drawing on your energy, drawing on your goodness. The other day, two of the ladies who came into the temple told me about this chap. And interestingly, he came in whilst they were speaking. And what happened is he had been in a restaurant sitting by himself in Glastonbury. It's very busy in town. So the girls asked him if they could sit with him. And he said, yes, of course, no problem at all. And they had a really nice conversation. I met the chap, I met the gentleman. He is a lovely, lovely man. Anyway, as they were leaving, he left first, and as they were leaving and were trying to pay their bill, he had paid for their food. And they didn't know whether they were ever going to see him again to thank him for that gift of food. And it was so amazing that as they were in the temple, he came in. And so they were able to thank him, but he didn't want the thanks. He had the abundance to help, to gift something. And this is what is really important, that sometimes when we gift something, people don't need to know that it was you. It is actually, something called virtue signaling, when you gift and then you take credit for it. But when you do something, when you gift something, your wisdom, your abundance, your kindness, your care, your love, your money, and you gift that without people knowing it is from you, that is the greatest gift. Then you know yourself that you truly wanted to give something without receiving something back. And in a way, that is the true gift. So I have had so many gifts of gratitude, of love, of wisdom this week. And yes, of course, I know who gave them to me, but I hope there was an exchange between the two of us. The only way that we can make this world a better place is by being in community with like-minded people, but then turn around, turn out, turn to the outside and look for someone that you may be able to pay it forward. This is all about, I have received, I trust that there is more, I can be generous. I can be generous. It doesn't have to be much, but paying it forward, paying the kindness that you have received forward, is one of the things that make the world a better place. Every time you do something like that, without somebody coming back and saying thank you, because you did it obviously, that is how the world becomes a better place. Trust yourself. Find what is right for you. Allow yourself to blossom and become that petal that is in Goddess's flower, in Goddess's rose. My friend loves the flower of life. It's everywhere in our home, and it's a really old geometrical sign. They even found it in the temples in Egypt, which is weird because it's actually something that comes from the Hindus, to our knowledge. But what do we actually know? What do we actually know? We don't know that much. We think we know, but there is so much more. And continuing to be curious, continuing to go your path, continuing to learn something every day is the greatest treasure that you can be gifted with. So, leaving my ramblings aside, I would like to thank you for listening. If you are, thank you for taking care of each other, taking care of the ones you love, but also the ones that you meet who may not be in your circle, may not be in your community yet, but who may well need the help. Be generous. When we are generous without somebody knowing that it is us that is generous to them, without making them feel like they have to come into, you know, gratitude, without making them ashamed that they can't necessarily provide everything for themselves and for their families. When we allow them to be free of all of that, then we have done a good job. So many blessings to you. And as we are moving into the season of the mother, I would love to tell you that being abundant is not just about money. Abundance of joy, abundance of knowing who you are, of confidence in yourself, valuing yourself, is the greatest gift that you can receive. So before I get eaten completely by the lovely midges, I am giving a blood sacrifice here. I wish you a very good night. Blessed be.